Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Monday, the 7th day of June, 2021. Well, I hope everybody's gardens are doing well. Ours are doing well. We've had to cover the last 2 nights. It's not down to 32, but we have a wind chill a lot of the time, and you know, a couple of our spaces are right in I don't know, it's like there's like this cold area in two parts of our property where wind and the frost just seem to settle in, and of course that's where most of my stuff is. So we've been covering the last couple of nights. I don't know. Here we have Thursday today, Thor's rune, breaking through. Means the thorn. It helps you to move past obstacles. Uh, so if there's challenges today, then you can rest assured that Thursaz is there to help you with all of those. Let's see what our geomancy rune will be today. Oh, well, we have Kata Draconis, which Caput and Kata complement one another. And here it is. And Kata Draconis has to do with the south node of the moon, or endings, or karma. Sometimes it's considered an evil influence, but I really think that that's just a matter of perspective. But the north node would be, with Caput would be, and here's its complement, you just turn it upside down, basically. But Caput would be the new beginnings, or the north node of the moon. So something is coming to completion maybe today, or in the process of, and with Thursaz you may be able to break through whatever's, keeping you from achieving whatever goal you want to achieve. So that could be at least the beginnings of our divination for today. We'll see, though. We'll see what the cards have to say. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, but all too often, the cards will focus this in on maybe something a little more specific than just simply breaking through something so that something can end. and something new can begin, or if it is talking about the past karma, or the past influences that are affecting your lives. If you're looking at something like Chiron, you're looking at the wounded healer, and with that, things are coming up. I know this week in Esoteric Influences, seemed to be like one of the running themes was a lot of stuff coming up that might interfere or impact with interactions with others this week. And so in that regard, maybe the Thursaz influence, the breakthrough, is breaking through things that have been bothering you for some time. And that would certainly apply with Kata Draconis there. And the whole idea of past life influence, or the past coming in, past woundings. They're not meant to, these woundings are not meant to destroy you. They're meant to awaken you to inner truth. And so that's real. You don't need to be afraid of them. You don't need to be afraid of looking at it, no matter how difficult it might feel. It's really telling you now is the time. And sometimes it's almost as if when things are so difficult, that really means now's the time for you to really make some progress with something like that. So think about that, and let's take a look at our cards. Well, we start out with the Six of Swords, so definitely a new journey over water in the most obvious sense. But this could also be a journey toward new perceptions. We're looking at swords here, and the swords is the air element. And there you're talking reason and intellect and fairness and balance and perception. It's the mental suit of the tarot. And so it can be a difficult suit. It can indicate difficulties that because here you're seeing a journey over water, but it's also in winter. You see all of the snow on the tops of the different buildings and whatnot. It's cold out, and it looks like the mother and child are huddled against the elements, while either the husband or someone they've paid to ferry them across the water, maybe they're going to a new life. The six would denote a shared path, so this is likely a family sharing this experience. but maybe some things have happened and they've awakened to some new opportunities somewhere else, uh, or something that was keeping them stuck, like with Kata Draconis, keeping them stuck into the past where they can't move forward. But with Thurazaz, even in the winter, we're breaking through to something new. Let's look at the next card. Here we have the Knight of Wands. Now, the knights are catalytic presence. They usually mean some kind of movement. They can mean protection. Individually, this particular knight with the suit of wands is the fire element, so we're talking an exercise of will here on behalf of others. Typically, sometimes it's on behalf of the king, but sometimes it's on behalf of just people. Here he's on a quest to the Holy Land, though. Knights and quests are often tied together. You see the 3 pyramids, so that's how you know it's the Holy Land. So it's really a spiritual journey that the knight takes. And so that defines the 6 even more. That this isn't necessarily an event as much as it is perception that's changing, and you can move forward now into something else. But the thing about the Knight of Wands is you're willing to take the risk. That's also involved with the fire element, is risk. And so they're taking that risk here with the 6 to move on into new perceptions and new experiences, because those new perceptions will drive the new experiences, is basically. Perhaps you've been stuck in one mode of thinking for a while, and now you're willing to take a risk to move past that and express yourself, maybe your will, in a way that you're not accustomed to. And making a decision like the one the family's making in the 6, that's a pretty big risk, isn't it? To think about something a different way, to consider another perspective, to let go of past influences that don't serve you with Kata Draconis and break through into something new with Thurazaz. Now the Queen of Cups is our last card, at least for the moment. But here we're talking about becoming reflective, reflecting on the situation at hand, reflecting on how you feel about things. She's quite reflective. She's staring at a beautiful chalice that she's holding in her hands. And while she sits at the water's edge, and almost her cape right here almost becomes part of the ocean rock below her. It just sort of melds or merges into that, doesn't it? You see the cherubs above, reflecting compassion and love. She's a healer. She's patient. She's empathic. She's aware. She may have trouble setting boundaries, which may have, got you into the position to begin with that caused you to want to leave or break through or let go. That could be certainly true. Let me think about anything else. Loving, she's an observer. In other words, she may be someone that she acts in a receptive way. Now, the King of Cups can be passive aggressive. So I suppose when we look at her, the Queen, in terms of maybe some boundaries that need to be a little more firm, it's really just based on love. And she just doesn't want to, be too harsh with those she loves. That's all. She wants to come at this in a different way than the king might. So let's just shuffle one more time here. Let's take a look at then. So let's just stop for a moment and regroup here. So we have Thurazaz, where we're breaking through something here, likely feelings or perceptions that no longer serve us. We'll say perceptions with the 6. We're ready to move on. Possibly in a spiritual journey or a type of quest to something new, to new experiences. But again, with Kata Draconis, we're letting go and making the past work for us instead of against us. Compassion's involved. So is a reflective presence. But let's see what can challenge us along this path, if we're going to look at it that way. Well, we have the 6 of Pentacles, and basically this is about, it's about generosity, but, there's another aspect to this six card, this Six of Pentacles. And I think that it may be one of the motivators for the Six of Swords here, where we're ready to move past and taking advantage of Kata Draconis here to help us do that, to let go of perceptions that no longer serve. One of the perceptions is that we can go nowhere. I used to interpret this card in a much more positive way, like shared wealth or shared abundance or something like that. And in a truly positive sense, it may in fact be, but I don't know about that. You see, they're down on their knees. He's not elevating them. He's not giving them enough, in other words, to elevate them out of the poverty that they're in. He's not offering them a job. He's not doing anything to change the circumstances of their lives, because clearly they're not able to get up off the ground. They need assistance from others, in other words. They either don't have the education or skill set, they don't have a trade, perhaps they're people that are homeless, that have no family to help them. It could be anything, but you see, they're not getting up. They're still remaining on their knees, and the scales are outside this guy's vision. So I think the challenge is being ready to take the risk that the Knight is asking us to take, and to move out of our comfort zone and to embark on some new perceptions that might serve us better in the long run, instead of staying stuck in the position that either society has put us in or we've put ourselves in by virtue of how we see everything. If your vision is clouded, you don't see the opportunities around you. And now that's an assumption that we're making here, because we don't really have anything that says this, but I suspect that that's what's going on here. And because of that realization, perhaps, the family has decided, you know what, we're not going to believe that. We're not going to believe that there's no hope for us. Instead, we're going to take that leap of faith, and we're going to move across the water in the cold of winter, in the worst time possible, and set out on a new path. We don't care what the challenges are. It doesn't matter what they are. We know that it has to happen. And what will help us? Well, the King of Pentacles, is going to help us here. I don't know how much, but we take charge of our lives. The issue I have with the kings, all right, is always that they have their backs to the kingdom. All right. So either the king is a reinforcement for what's happening here with the six. So both the answer and the challenge are found in the six and in the king. But he's surveying all of his wealth, but he's not paying attention to the kingdom. Now that's the negative side of all of this. But here, he's also responsible. He's steadfast. He's a successful older man. He's in authority. He's also concerned with legacy. So, I think we're going to take that one. When you realize that the challenge is, let's look at those two cards. When you realize that the challenge is that people are only going to, the powers, we'll say it this way, the authority is only going to let you go so far. You have to break out of that perception that's being imposed on you, or perception that you've bought into yourself. And you have to use all that you have, all of your past experience, to understand how all this happened, how it is that you allowed someone else to define for you what your future is going to be. And then exercise your own authority within. Be concerned with your legacy enough that maybe you turn your back to authority that tells you you can't do something. Gather your passion, gather your will about you, and set off on a new journey. One that's a little bit more higher self-based than ego-based. And take that leap of faith and move across the difficulties ahead with resolve and integrity. Make the decision to move on and to let go of perceptions that keep you bound to someone else's perception or a perception you've bought into. But trust me, you didn't create it on your own. Society has a funny way of doing that. It just has a way of getting into your head, into your headspace, to your mindset, and deciding for you how far you can go in life. Most of it's predicated upon lies that people expect you to believe. But today, and for this next week maybe, we'll see what Thursday's cards and runes have to say, but it sure looks like we're ready to let go of perceptions that no longer serve, have them work for us to awaken us to some greater truths about ourselves. And whatever propaganda we've bought into by the powers that be, that keeps us from moving forward into something that's more profitable, that can build our legacy instead of detract from it. Because basically, the only guy's legacy that's being built here is the guy with the scales behind his back. See, he doesn't really want to look at the lack of balance here. He really doesn't. But if you're not concerned with your legacy, you're going to let this guy do this to you and define for you where you exist in life, of how far you can get. And here's the thing, what they do, you see this now with some of the states that are doing away with unemployment, the federal unemployment, or whatever has been helping people stay afloat during the pandemic. Not everybody is back to where they need to be, and so some people still need this. But you have one side of the equation that's decided, oh no, if we let you have this any longer, you're never going to go back to work. Well, that's not the human desire. It's not reflective of the human condition. That's not what people want, because it's never going to be enough to live on. And so to even suggest something like that, again, what they're trying to do is to oppress you in a way that makes you think you're somehow not deserving of success, that you're not even deserving to keep the power on or some food on the table. You're not even deserving of that at a time of great, difficulty. Some people, if one of the parents has passed with COVID, maybe that was the one that was bringing in all the paychecks. Maybe the other parent doesn't work. Maybe the other parent instead takes care of the children, works in a different way. But now there's no money coming in because one parent has passed due to COVID. So you see, people, maybe they're not ill, but they're having to contend with things that are imposed on them. And the help that needs to be there is being taken away by heartless people who can't understand this greater picture. It's all about greed, and it's all about conveying to people that you will stay oppressed. They don't say the words, but it is in fact what they're doing. So again, it's letting go of whatever mindset that was keeping you in a position that you don't need to be, and move on into something else. Something that is more reflective of your situation. One that maybe you treat yourself with a little more compassion and respect than the other people are doing, that want to impose their will on you. So you turn the tables, become the knight in your life, the spiritual warrior, and say no more. I'm not going to buy into this nonsense anymore. And I'm going to move on into something better. I'm going to take that leap of faith. I'm going to take that risk. Even if it's not a financial situation, you're taking the risk to think a different way. Maybe you got caught up in something over the last few years, all the lies that were being told by the former guy. Maybe you got caught up in that and you believed him. Well, they were lies, so stop. Again, shift your perception to the truth instead of this guy's need for income. You see what I mean? It's that manipulation that people want to do to others that has to stop, and we have to stop allowing it to happen by choosing to follow things that we know don't feel right to us. So Anyhow, that's it. We'll talk again Thursday. Think about this, and we'll see if the cards and the runes continue this or if we turn a corner. But this seems to be kind of a heavy thing. And so I'm hoping that we can talk some more about it on Thursday. So, anyhow, thanks so much for watching. Again, click subscribe if you haven't. I would love you to do that and come back. And everywhere I am is below. If you do that, click on that show more. It shows all the links to where I am. You can follow me there. I generally follow back. If I miss it, I'm sorry. But I try to go through every so often and see, oh Lord, who did I miss? And so, but I guess that's it. You know, have a good week, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.